Has Bryce Eldridge done enough to make the opening day roster? Let's talk about it right here on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, thanks to you, the #1 sports podcast network. My name is Alan Stiles. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay Area, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show on Sacktown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercast games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are talking about whether or not Bryce Eldridge has already done enough to make the opening day roster for the San Francisco Giants. Let's talk about one of the last remaining free agent starting pitchers, Lucas Giolito, should the Giants have interest there. And we're going to get into the rest of the free agents that are floating around, any interest in some of the big boppers and guys like that the Giants could add. This episode is brought to you by MLB The Show. Visit MLBTheShow.com/lockedon and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. So, a lot of people are talking about Bryce Eldridge, and of course, they're talking about Bryce Eldridge. Last night, he hit a ball that had an exit velocity of 113. It took one bounce, over the shortstop's head, and it hit the wall. It rolled all the way to the fence. That's how hot that coffee was coming off of Bryce Eldridge's bat. So everybody is talking already, saying, hey, we think he's already done enough to make the squad. But not so fast, my friends. I do think that Bryce Eldridge still needs to do a little bit more in order to crack the roster. And not only is this about Bryce Eldridge, it's also about the state of the roster and some of the other things going on that Bryce Eldridge has no control over. So let's first take a look at what Bryce Eldridge has done so far in his spring training 2026. He has 9 games played, 19 at-bats. He has 5 hits, so he's 5 for 19, all right? He has struck out 7 times, which is a lot, but we know that's something that he's just going to do. We would hope that, it'll lessen over the years, but that's kind of who he is right now. Although his swing is short enough that he could figure out some of the strikeout problems that he has had, or maybe that's not really the right word, problem. Maybe that's just who he is. But on the positive side, he's got 3 doubles already. He's got 1 home run. He's got 5 RBIs. He's hitting .263. I know, small sample size. Hitting .263, on base percentage 391, slugging percentage 579, OPS at 970. He got that home run that I wanted him to get. He did it super early on. And fielding, he's been great over there. He had that highlight play against Team USA. He's looked great. And outside of the actual batting average, we know that within some of his outs, there are balls like he hit to Byron Buxton against Team USA, against Paul Skeens. That's not a normal out, right? That shouldn't be looked at as a normal out. I know an out is an out, but that's a very impressive out. It just is. That's the reality of the situation. So a lot of people are saying that Bryce Eldridge should already have stamped his spot on the opening day roster. And again, he is playing really well. I just think he needs to do more. And that's not me being a hater to Bryce Eldridge. I hope he is the next Will Clark, the next great left-handed hitter in the Giants organization. I truly do. I just think in this situation, the Giants have other things that they need to figure out as far as where they want to go with the outfielders. If you take a look at, this was from Andrew Baggerly's roster projection 1.0. So some of this stuff might change, but he had Rafi Devers, that ain't changing. Luis Arias, that ain't changing. Willie Adames, that ain't changing. Matt Chapman, that ain't changing. Casey Schmidt, that ain't changing. And I don't think Christian Koss is changing either. So there's really no openings there as far as the infielders are concerned. When it comes to the outfielders, this is where these things can get a bit tricky. You have Elliot Ramos, that's not changing. Jung-Hoo Lee, Harrison Bader, those are all locked in. Then you get to Gerard Encarnacion. That's who Andrew Baggerly has, and we know he's out of options, as well as Drew Gilbert. And his next up, he has Luis Matos. So he doesn't even have Luis Matos making the opening day roster. And as we know, he's also out of options. So we'd have to see what's going on with Luis Matos once he gets through waivers and things like that. If he still ends up on the Giants, that could be over, right? And the other part of that is the Drew Gilbert conversation. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the Giants really like Jared Oliva. He looked great in center field last night. He looked great, okay? And he's been, tracking balls down. We know what he can do as far as the bases are concerned. I think they really like Jared Oliva. And Drew Gilbert hasn't been playing. He's been out. A couple Giants have been banged up a little bit, and Drew Gilbert has been one of them. So I wouldn't be surprised when Baggerly puts out his 1.5 or 2.0. I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Gilbert is not on this list. So you have those guys. You have what Oliva's doing, what Matos is doing, and we know Matos is in a tough spot. Gerard Encarnacion, these are guys where if you don't want to chance losing them, then you might end up putting them on the roster to give yourself that type of flexibility, because there really is no rush with Bryce Eldridge besides people like me, people like you wanting to see the next phenom for the Giants be on the roster and play every single day. So my point is, it's not necessarily about Bryce Eldridge not playing well enough. I think he's playing extremely well. I think the issue is right now, based on the Giants and their roster construction and the decision that they have to make and guys that they might not want to give up on quite yet or chance losing when it comes to Luis Matos or Gerard Encarnacion, you might disagree with it, right? It really just comes down to what the Giants think. I think that Bryce Eldridge has to be that much better. Right? We're getting, I always talk about kind of the high school tryout situation. There are juniors and seniors that are lined up. So if Bryce Eldridge is a freshman or a sophomore, to make that team, he's really going to have to force the coach's hand. And as well as he's played, I don't think he's done that quite yet. And on the other side, there are 18 games left. A lot can happen in 18 games. We're just getting started. The spring training, it's long. And we would love for Bryce to make the team, and he's off to a hot start, which is better than any other option that we could hope for. But I think he either has to continue that at the very least, or he's got to take it up a notch even higher, which I don't know is realistic. So I don't know if it's a matter of whether or not he's done enough, because realistically, I don't know how much he's going to have to do in order to make this happen. They don't want to rush him. They don't want to rush him and then not be able to play him all the time. They have the situation with Rafi Devers and Luis Arraez, and they're both lefties, even though, I would say Luis Arraez is a completely different type of hitter than Bryce Eldridge and Rafi Devers. So you have that going on, and then you have the decision that the Giants are going to have to make with Luis Matos and with Gerard Encarnacion. So with all that being said, Bryce Eldridge, he has to make it just abundantly clear that you cannot send him back to Sacramento. He does. And if there are still things that you want to pick and choose between, I was going back and forth with some Giants fans about the K rate, right? And how much he strikes out. And a lot of people saying he's always going to strike out a lot. That's still something that the Giants could say, hey, you can at least work on that in AAA, right? And I know he struck out a lot in AAA as well in Sacramento, but you can at least work on that while we figure out what exactly we want to do. It turns into this. There's a difference between Bryce Eldridge joining the team because he deserves it and Bryce Eldridge joining the team because the Giants think that they need him in the lineup right now. As of right now, I think it would be Bryce Eldridge probably has done enough to make the team. I don't know if deserve is the right word, depends on who you ask. But as of right now, that's where it's at. It is not in the conversation of, no, they need him in the lineup. So that's my line for Bryce Eldridge. And I believe that's probably the Giants' line for Bryce Eldridge. Not necessarily a throw him in the seven hole or the 8 hole and we'll see what we can do. We're kind of working through things. No, I think it's a situation where we're putting you in the lineup because we believe in your production, that we're going to see that production. I don't know that Bryce Eldridge has gotten there yet. I think he can get there. 18 more games to show that we can't go into opening day without this guy on the roster, because chances are if there's a righty on the bump, we need him in the lineup. There's a chance to get there. I just don't think Bryce Eldridge has gotten there yet. So a lot of people want to just stamp it in. He's on the opening day roster right now. It's just not that simple. With the other option situation that the Giants have going on with other players, and I know some of you out there don't care about Luis Matos anymore, or don't care about Gerard Encarnacion anymore. And that's fair. That's your prerogative. But the Giants, they can't let young talent just walk away and be hasty. And that's the last thing that they want to do. If Bryce Eldridge puts them in a position to where they have to make that decision, and again, they need him and they believe they need his production, then they'll make the decision that's best for the org. But right now, I don't think we've seen that. We've seen a guy that has improved. We've seen a guy that doesn't look overmatched, and that's outstanding. I don't necessarily see a guy yet to where the Giants are saying, no, we need you in the lineup. Right? We think that we can't go into the start of the regular season without that production from your bat. Those are the changes here. There was a dude, they're guys all the time, right? If you have an open roster spot or your team wasn't very good, yeah, let's throw the sophomore on the team. But a lot of times when you get to those better teams, right, when you get to the playoffs, whatever it is, if a freshman or a sophomore is on the team, they're not on the team for kicks and giggles. They're starting every single day. So Bryce right now, just based on the roster situation, I don't think the Giants are in a position to just put him on the team because he deserves it, right? We actually just saw this with Luis Matos and him having to platoon with Yastrzemski. I don't want to see that. When Bryce gets up, I want to see him in the lineup every day. And I don't know that we would see that right now. If that's the case, then obviously the Giants will pull him up. But I don't know if that would be the case right now. Now, 18 more games, if he continues to play like this, or I should say turn it up even a higher notch, then I think that we can have that conversation. But, maybe the Giants are okay with moving on from a Luis or an Encarnacion or whatever it is, or Drew Gilbert starts in AAA. They can make those decisions as well. I just don't believe the Giants want to rush anything. So that's why this thing, in my opinion, might end with Bryce starting in AAA. And, he might feel like he's done enough, and there's a high probability that he has done enough. It's just not always that simple. It ain't always like high school baseball, even though I like to bring it up that way. Next segment, let's get into Lucas Giolito's situation. Are you interested? Do you think the Giants should cash out? That's right. Cash out on a guy who's still a free agent with a couple weeks left before opening day. More Locked On Giants coming up. This week's MLB Top 100 Highlights is brought to you by MLB The Show, the latest from the beloved video game and franchise. Each week, we're highlighting the stars of MLB's Top 100 players list, the elite names you'll be controlling, building around, and going head-to-head with in MLB The Show. Today, I want to spotlight number 56 on the list, our first baseman, Rafi Devers. This dude came in, and it is always tough to get traded during the season. He came in and didn't miss a beat. 30-plus home runs. You see him getting more comfortable at first base, and he's going to be extremely important for the Giants heading into 2026, and he can be extremely important for you in MLB The Show. And let us not forget the World Baseball Classic is back. Take on actual World Baseball Classic teams from all over the world with your Diamond Dynasty team. MLB The Show 26 lets you be the guys the way we talk about them every single day. Their clutch moments, breakout seasons, and new superstar traits. That's this week's MLB Top 100 highlight presented by MLB The Show, where you can play, manage, and build with your favorite players. That's this week's MLB Top 100 highlight presented by MLB The Show 26, where you can play, manage, and build with your favorite players and teams. If you love talking baseball, you'll love playing it even more. Visit MLBThe.show/lockedon and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. MLB opening day is almost here, and you can feel it. Fresh starts, big expectations, and that first crack of the bat. Whether it's a breakout rookie or a division race that goes down to the wire, there's nothing like being in the ballpark for it. The only problem, getting tickets can feel like a grind. Long queues, surprise fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's where there's Game Time. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay. period. The seat views feature is huge. You can see the panoramic view from your exact seat before you buy. Zone deals let you pick the section and save even more while Game Time selects the seat. You can follow your favorite teams and get alerts when new deals drop. 2 taps and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats in minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide last minute to hit a game. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Next segment with you, and I think I feel safe enough to say this out loud. This will probably be the last free agent conversation we have, unless the Giants obviously sign someone. But as far as rumors and ideas and thoughts, I think this will be the last one. And we're going to end it with the conversation about Lucas Giolito. And then we're going to have one, I guess it's the last show with free agent conversations, because we're going to talk about the other remaining free agents after this. But we're going to end it as far as a specific person with Lucas Giolito. Lucas Giolito, this is from heavy.com. They're talking about the Braves going after Lucas Giolito, but it's now March and Lucas Giolito has yet to sign with an MLB organization. There also haven't been many reports about what teams are interested in Giolito and where he may sign. Although injuries have been a part of his career, Lucas Giolito will be a good arm, they're talking about, for the Braves to make a contract offer to. He spent his 2025 season with the Red Sox and posted an ERA of 3.41 over 141 innings and 26 starts. Giolito missed the end of the Red Sox season, which might be why he hasn't inked a deal yet, but that's a strong earned run average mark for 145 innings of work. Robert Murray of Fansided is urging the Braves to ink Giolito to a deal after the headache news of Jurickson Profar being suspended, and he says they'd automatically raise the floor as well as the upside of the rotation. In Giolito's case, he's coming off a season in which he posted a 3.41 ERA and is now 2 years removed from the reconstructive elbow surgery. So this is where things get interesting. And Heavy goes on to write, while the market appears to be limited for Lucas Giolito at this moment, the Atlanta Braves, with their new cash flow, could sign the former White Sox All-Star starter to a one-year, $20 million deal. According to Spotrac, Lucas Giolito's market value projects him to earn $20 million for an AAV salary. At this point, he remains unsigned. A multi-year deal may be unlikely, but the Braves could and should look into bringing him on. I think that is way too much money. Now, that was my initial thought. Then I went on Spotrac and I checked out what other guys are making. So a 20 mil AAV. You have Robbie Ray making 23 mil, Luis Severino making 22, Zach Gallen signed for 22, Shota Iminaga's at 22, Kevin Gosman's at 22, and then you start to see a drop off. Luis Castillo's at 21, Merrill Kelly's at 20. Joe Musgrove at 20, Eduardo Rodriguez is at 20, Chris Sale is at 19, Chris Bassett's at 18.5, Yu Darvish is at 18. So I don't know. I mean, my initial thought is if you're still hanging around, how are you going to get $20 million? But it feels like a lot of people don't think the fact that these guys are waiting long periods of time won't affect their AAVs. They just happen to affect how long they get signed for. So he's not going to get a 2-3 year deal, most likely, but he'll get what he wants to get for a deal like that as far as the money is concerned. So if he thought I should be making 20 a year, he'll still get that just for 1 year as opposed to 2 or 3. So he's definitely fascinating as a pitcher. And I said before, and we talked about the Giants having an underrated lineup in yesterday's show, but I've said before, the issue here for the Giants, it's going to be pitching. I think the biggest thing, the Giants probably are saying to themselves, look, if we're going to take a chance on somebody with injury concerns, we're not paying you $20 million, right? Tyler Mahle ain't making that. He's making what, 11, 12, something like that. If we're going to take a chance on somebody that could miss time, that's fine, but we just can't pay you $20 million. So I don't necessarily know how Lucas Giolito is going to get that. The reason they're bringing up the Braves is because they have extra cash flow because of that contract situation with Profar, because he's not going to be playing because of his suspension. But I don't know that a lot of teams that don't have that disposable income, if you will, are going to be spending it on Lucas Giolito simply because of injuries. And to that point, you got Rob bringing up the fact that he's 2 years removed from an elbow surgery, but then he didn't finish the season with the Red Sox. So I don't know. I want this. I do think the Giants probably need another arm. The Max Scherzers of the world, they're gone. Justin Verlander's, they're gone. But Lucas Giolito at 20 mil, I was not expecting to hear that. If he could get 20 mil, I just feel like he already would have gotten it. That's what I'm kind of confused on. So we know how it is, my reverse jinx, if you will, when I talk about somebody on the show, normally they get signed during the show or right after I post. So I would be on the lookout for something as far as Lucas Giolito is concerned, because that's how it's gone throughout the offseason so far. I think the Giants, as much as I'm not completely sold on their rotation, I can't give Lucas Giolito $20 million, and it's not even my money. Here's a crazy stat that I came across, and this is when you really get into the weeds with stuff like this. I've never seen something like this before. So this is from the Warmonger, and he says pitchers with best outfield defense behind them in 2025. This is by OAA, okay? Fielding run value. So how many times did the pitchers essentially get saved by their defense? That's how I read it. Lucas Giolito is number one by 2 runs. Okay, he's at 7. You have Jack Leiter at 5, Jeffrey Springs at 4, and so on and so forth. And somebody posted something where it is Lucas Giolito giving up a home run and the center fielder for the Red Sox robbing the home run. So very similar to what we've talked about before, where we've said, hey, sometimes the stats don't necessarily look exactly like what you believe they would, or they don't tell the full story. I think that's what's going on with Lucas Giolito. And a lot of these analytic heads that are in front offices now, they're looking at stuff like this. They're not just looking at ERAs like we do, or back in the day where it's, well, he pitched really well. Well, how did he pitch well, right? How many times did he get saved? If he didn't get saved, if he had, no disrespect to the Giants, but if he was pitching with the Giants outfield, what would the ERA look like? Right. So those are certain things to keep an eye on. I do think that it is interesting. It's just not that interesting to me at $20 million. I'm sorry, Lucas Giolito. Somebody else can sign you. I saw somewhere else, the Phillies, they're always spending money. The Phillies could go get him and add him to the rotation. He would help them out. I just think with the injury concerns, and I know the Giants probably wouldn't be spending 20 mil on anybody anyway, but I don't think that they're going to do it on somebody that they're not sure is going to be able to finish the season. But hopefully Lucas Giolito can get whatever he feels like he deserves, and hopefully it's in the American League. One more segment with you. For the last time, let's go through the free agents that are left. And you know what? There's a specific reason I'm bringing this up, and I'll tell you what it is on the other side. More Locked On Giants coming up. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Try to book an appointment. That's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now, FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits my read. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Giants with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to Locked On SFGiants at supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. If you're a true diehard Giants fan, the Everydayer All-Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all-access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Head to Locked On SFGiants at supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can also find a link in the show notes. One more segment with you, and as we say goodbye to the free agent conversation, I thought it was only right to one last time go through some of these names, and you tell me in the comments, hit me up on social media as well, if any of these names you think the Giants should bring in. So I'm going to skip over the catchers. Obviously, the Giants are good there. Going to skip over the first baseman. Funny enough, Justin Turner, he's 41. I don't know if I realized he was 41. Justin Turner still available. Donnie Barrels still available, 41 years old. And I was going to mention as I get to this next name, Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy, he came up because I'm watching the World Baseball Classic and Mexico was playing, and I saw Rowdy. He was up to bat. I didn't realize he was not on a team right now. Another name that's not on a team, Wilmer Flores. He's 34 years old. So Rowdy's only 31. Wilmer Flores, 34. These guys have not been picked up yet. Now, obviously, the Giants don't need to go in that situation, but I don't know if, Wilmer Flores thought that he'd be done after this. I've always had this theory about how baseball players, they have the kind of the saddest ends of their careers, right? They end up signing minor league deals and they just disappear. I know mine in particular that sticks out in my mind because he's a Bay Area guy. Jimmy Rollins, right? Great player. He won a World Series with the Phillies. Then later in his career, and I met Jimmy. Jimmy's great. Like I said, because, both grew up in the Bay Area, but Jimmy, he kind of hung around. At one point, he was on the Dodgers, but he was actually playing. Then he was on the Giants for a hot second. I almost bought a Jimmy Rollins jersey, but I don't believe he ever made the big league squad. If so, it was for a hot second. So some of these guys, they're going to have to make some decisions here for their careers. But, Rowdy's only 31. Wilmer at 34. He's kind of had a good run. Maybe they get picked up at some point throughout the season. You have some guys that I've never heard of. So there's that. Jose Iglesias, who I have heard of, obviously, 36 years old, second baseman. That's where they have him. Another name, man, I thought the Giants should go after him at some point, but I think it's over now. He had the quickest rise and quickest fall, I think, in the history of baseball. Tim Anderson at 33 years old. He is still listed as a shortstop, and he is unsigned. Last season, Tim Anderson was with the Angels, and if you are thinking that name is familiar, Tim Anderson's the guy that went from hitting a home run against the Yankees during the Field of Dreams game and being a second baseman for Team USA to that season or the very next season when the White Sox were kind of rolling a little bit to getting punched. And ultimately, it kind of ruined his career. He had some personal stuff going on as well. But yeah, kind of ruined his career. And Tim Anderson, 33 years old, I think he might be done as well. You have another name, Luis Arias. He was most recently, I believe, with the A's, I think. So he's only 29 years old. He might get picked up by somebody that is the third baseman. You had Tommy Pham. He's 38 years old. I don't think I knew Tommy Pham was 38 years old. I'll be honest with you. They have him listed as a left fielder. Not sure who will go after him. Manuel Margot, a center fielder, 31 years old. He has not been signed yet. Max Kepler, that was a name that was intriguing. But now that I've seen what the Giants outfielders are doing right now, Max Kepler, 33 years old, I think I'm good. Jason Hayward's 36. I think didn't he sneak through and get his World Series with the Dodgers or something? So he's good to go. Some of the names, it looks like Patrick Corbin is still available. Some of these guys have kind of fallen off as far as their deals, and it's just gotten really quiet with what they were going to do or what they should do or where they were going to sign. But Patrick Corbin still available. Zach Littell still available. He's 30. Patrick Corbin's 36. Anybody interested in the Nestor Cortez, right? He can, kind of mess with your timing, things like that. He's 31. So some of these names, and then I already talked about Lucas Giolito, some of these names might make you shrug your shoulders a little bit if they have some issues. Frankie Montas, he's 33. He's been so close, right? So close so many times, just hasn't been able to put it together. Marcus Stroman is 35. He's probably done. Alex Cobb, 38. And Marcus Stroman, to me, he probably doesn't have to be done if he decides that he can come out of the bullpen. I still think there's something there. I mean, with a lot of these guys, right? If you want to come out of the bullpen and you're a former starter, maybe you're down to do it. I mean, if you're going to do that for a couple mil, why not? You got Tony Gonsolin. Obviously, he was with the Dodgers for a while. Wade Miley as well. So there are definitely some names that I think, if injuries hit the Giants, or Yoel Peguero, by the way, his hamstring is still tight. He tried to come back. It didn't work out. He might miss a decent amount of time. So there are some names there where you think, hey, if our bullpen is just awful, we can look at some of these names. We have time. We can sign these guys. So I wouldn't laugh too much at some of these names. The position players, I don't think so. But some of these pitchers and what they could do, you never know. You never know. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @the_Styles File, Styles with an I. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Giants ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to Locked On SF Giants at supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow on a beautiful Friday. Until then, peace.